I'm about to check out this this Jubilee Spectrum video. Do all black men think the same? Now I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I am in fact a black man. So I figured I might as well check it out, participate. You know what I mean? This could be interesting. Now I did skip the giveaway thing because you saw it in the last one. I'm not gonna do it every time, and I'm kind of, I'm trying to speed through this a little bit. So let's hop right into it, bro.
Black men that date white women, there's something different, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know what it is. Like you oh, okay, Childish Gambino, I can see that. Jordan Peele, okay, I can see that.
What's that? What? I gotta wait for the context of that one, cause that's a little confusing to me.
I am expected to have a big dick. 3, 2.
I'm not gonna speak on that one.
Go.
I would say I agree. I guess. Oh yeah, I would say agree.
Nobody disagrees. Yo, yeah, I feel like it's a stereotype, and we know that stereotypes aren't realistic. But I mean, personal encounters, I don't feel like there's leeway. I feel like, okay, that one we're keeping. Like that's what the general notion is.
I think it gets into the issue of positive and negative stereotypes.
For sure.
People need to realize that there is no such thing, because what you do is you put people into a box where they're expected to live up to a standard.
Facts.
And I feel like it's over sexualizing black men. You know, you should want to date someone more for the pleasure physically that they can bring to you. And I know I've talked to people personally who will be like, oh, you're lucky you're black. You have a big member. And I'm like, well, I have other things to offer too. Like, I'm well spoken. I have a good sense of humor.
That's valid.
Like, you go straight to like what's underneath my zipper.
Yeah, I mean, that's been my experience a lot of times, especially, meeting different people. That's the expectation. And I just tell them 2-inch Punisher, don't expect too much. I'm just, it's I think a lot of people watch a lot of porn too, and that's where it comes from. Like, when
that's probably a problem.
See, these mandingos and 10-inch monsters, and they expect that to be reality, and a lot of times it's not, but that's the expectation that they have. So
Our audience submit hot takes about this group specifically, and they are hot. So black men cheat on their significant others far more than other races.
Black men don't cheat.
I'm just like, where is this study?
Black men don't cheat.
Someone do
Have you not heard of the council? We don't cheat. What are you talking about? Black men don't cheat.
some research where they calculated numbers over a given period of time.
They don't cheat.
Why it was going to be neutral,
Black men don't cheat.
I don't know the numbers. Like,
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
saying.
I don't
That's
know
why
if
I'm like,
that's true or not.
I disagree.
Yeah. So I came this way because of the keyword far more. I was like, do black men cheat? In generally, like you're not apt to not cheat because of the color of your skin.
To prescribe this to race feels nefarious in a way that I feel like it was coming from a place of somebody that got cheated on by a black man.
I think that's what it is.
It was like, yeah, black men cheat all the time. Come on, it's nothing
Better
makes
baby
sense.
mama Twitter.
Black men are attracted to big butts.
Agree, but it's not just black men though. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people.
There's nothing,
but I would say agree.
Biologically innate to like black men to like ass.
It's everybody.
It ties into hip hop and the whole strip club scene right now. We are so far gone from like the natural aesthetics of just a natural person that right now it's all about who has the baddest ass. Who ass is 25 pounds with 2-pound legs. You know what I mean? Like that's
for real though.
And
I feel like there's a major problem with a lot of people that have like unrealistic expectations for women in general. And part of the problem is like, like you said, the rap videos and the strip club scene. And I feel like, another huge part of it is like, sex workers promoting themselves a lot on social media. You really see so many different people, and a lot of the times, a lot of them be looking similar because they, enhance parts of themselves or whatever. And it's really just what people see. So then they have that in their mind as like the expectation, which is really messed up. But, that's how it is.
I mean, it looks unnatural to me, like, but I mean, a nice ass is just a nice ass.
Exactly.
Bro, black people are funny, and if you ever try and roast one of them, they will roast your ass so hard that you'll have no roast to rebuttal.
I don't know how to digest
I don't know.
I get what he's saying.
I'll say
think
somewhat agree.
black people as a collective are funny. If you go to black Twitter, if you go to black Instagram, black Facebook, like you're going to laugh. So I think that in that aspect, that's why like that statement has so much truth in it, because you.
That's very true.
Like, so I guess it's like the question is like, black people as a whole, are they funny? Or is like any black person gonna knock your ass off because he's super funny? Like, I think that's just the difference. Yeah. Black people as a whole, like, yeah, they got jokes, you know, it goes back and forth, cool.
That's why I said as a collective.
But don't think that any black person you go to expect like a really good joke, you know?
The N-word should stop being used by all races. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm gonna say somewhat disagree.
It's hard.
I'm gonna say somewhat.
I just think the N-word, when you look at the root of the word, even slaves would use it to describe other black people when accepting their supposed oppression. So I just think, when I think about that, I don't think you can do anything to erase the history and the blood that's been shed on that word. There are so many people who the last thing they
Heisenberg
heard was the
Thank you
N-word
for follow,
as they were being
bro.
murdered. So I just, when I think about that,
What you cooking up today?
yes, I think the word should stop being used.
Personally, me, I feel like it kind of starts with us. The fact that we make it so cool within music and within like entertainment that it lets other people feel like they have a
This is the last
pass,
thing I'm
or
checking
like
out.
It's okay because my favorite rapper said it, or I heard it here, or you guys say it all the time. How come I can't say it? But at the end of the day, it's black culture pain. And if anyone,
I feel like to a certain extent, it should be, you know, maybe not used so lightly, in a way where it's like, you know, just like saying bro in some cases, but like at the same time, like I get why it is, because it's really just reclaimed, you know, by black culture. And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, what are you really gonna do about it? Like, for real. But I feel like a lot of other people shouldn't be using it, you know, in most cases. It's one of those things that's kind of weird. Like, me personally, I feel like if you're at a rap concert, like Schoolboy Q said, if you're at a rap concert and your favorite rapper has that word 30 times in a song, and you at the concert trying to get lit, and you're, you know, a white boy, white girl, or, you know, Asian, whatever, like, bro, you lit. It's not that big a deal. Now, if you're just saying just to say it, if you're saying it in a derogatory way, like that's lame. But in a lot of cases, I feel like it's not that deep. Like, people really be tripping over that. Like, even Kendrick Lamar. Like, I don't know, bro. I feel like there's certain times where it's like, you know, it's not that deep. But for the most part, it's one thing that a lot of people definitely do overuse. Exactly. Context matters. Like, it's just, it really depends. It really depends.
going to be using it, it should only be us, and that's it.
You can't really own a word. I think
that too.
You know, we can own it in the sense where it's a black cultural thing.
Like, I feel like we reclaimed it to the point where people know that that's something that we say, and there's a lot of people who have learned the hard way. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, no one really owns the word. No one owns anything on this earth. Like, we don't own anything. We don't mean anything. We're specks of dust on a floating, you know, rock in space. Like, we don't mean anything. None of this matters at all at the end of the day. So I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, you know, like, context matters, and like, it's just black culture, but we don't own anything, you know, except our, you know, consciousness, which even still, I don't know what that's about.
But the idea where we kind of make it out to where we say like, oh, other people can't say it, I think that's more of like a insecurity within the black culture of not being able to hold power, because historically, it's like, right, historically, black people didn't have as much power, so we're trying to hold on to literally a word that...
I feel like the problem with people, you know, not wanting other people to say it is really just about the racism aspect, because that word was used to really put us down as people and to belittle us and to, you know, make us seem less human. And so I feel like that's part of the reason, but what he's saying definitely does make sense. Now that I think, I've never thought about it like that, but now that he says it, I can kind of understand that. It could be like a subconscious thing for a lot of black people, but I personally don't see it that way. But I get it though.
That only has meaning.
I get
because
it.
we add meaning to it.
I mean, respectfully, I ain't trying to hear that, right? Like, I feel like the only reason it's policed so much, and I feel like the only reason we even have like this debate or this debacle over whether we can use it or not is because we're black people.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those people that think everything is racist and all that, but
yeah,
in this specific instance,
I feel like a lot of people be reaching sometimes with like people talking about race coming. Like I feel like people really be reaching, and one of my biggest problems with a lot of people, especially Black Twitter, is you can't solve racism, you can't fix racism, you can't fix discrimination and injustice with racism, discrimination, and injustice. Like people be so racist towards white people. People be so racist. I mean, mostly white people. But I mean, other races and ethnicities and stuff all the time. It's like, bro, how are we as people gonna get any further if we're putting other people down? Then we're all just gonna be down here. 6ix9ine saying it. That's one of those things where it's like, I mean, come on, who's really gonna check him about it? Like he's Mexican. He grew up in New York, most likely around a lot of black people. Like, come on. Like who's really gonna check him about it? Like I feel like that isn't that big of a deal. Like it's kind of weird, but not to the point where I have a problem with it. I'm like, okay, like I don't know. I feel like there's certain groups that can get away with it in certain situations, like a lot of Hispanics, because they're discriminated against, not on the same level, but they are discriminated against regardless. So I can understand that, you know what I mean? But it's weird though. It's weird. But like I said, who's really gonna check him? Like, that's almost like, well, not really, because Logic is biracial, so like he is look white, but like even still though, he did grow up around black people, staying in his household, and that's just how it was for him growing up. That's how he was raised. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, who's really gonna check him about it? But in his case, he's actually biracial, so it's not the same. But I feel like it really just depends on how and where people were raised, I think. But in
many several instances,
6ix9ine shouldn't be saying nothing anyways.
Many instances have reclaimed the word bitch to be a term of endearment.
Yep.
There are in the 90s there was heavier women reclaimed the word fat, obviously respelling and things like that. But I feel like in those instances nobody bats an eye. Why is that understood? But with this, it's so confusing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like me personally, I don't use it. I'm uncomfortable with that word a lot. But I feel like a lot of people in the LGBT community use it because it's just like the N-word, in my opinion, because they were discriminated against, and that word was used to belittle them, make them seem less human, and like what they were actually doing to people is terrible. And so a lot of people in the community, kind of just reclaimed it and use. I think it's a little bit too much, just because, especially like the context. Like a lot of people be using it in like a joking context that just makes it seem kind of awkward, in my opinion. I don't know. I feel like it could, be cool at some point, but to me personally, it's kind of just like, eh. But it is the same situation though. A lot of people, it's just reclaiming something that was used against them. Because when you take something that was used against you and you use it against everyone else, then it's like, what now? You know what I mean? That's really you putting your foot down, picking your sword up, like, what's up? You know what I mean? So I feel like people care way too much, low key. This thunder is tripping. Hopefully I get through this before I'm
that word is one of the boundaries that
boring thing go down, bro.
Respectfully and rightfully set up for ourselves. So I don't want to. I'm not trying to hear the like. If we use it, why can't we do that all the time with a bunch of different things? And I don't think this should be one of the areas where we're like, yeah, let everybody. Nah, I'm not.
Well, I think it goes back to where you're saying boundaries, because when you break down to inner communities where blacks and Asians, blacks and whites in hip hop culture, where there's like it's 5 group of friends and their black friends don't care. They're like, say it. That's like that happens. So it's like we're having this broad conversation, and I know all
it's about context, in my opinion.
For black people,
about context,
but it's like it's such a convoluted.
It's context and tone. It's context and tone, because there's even black people that say it in the wrong tone, and it's like, bro, like that's weird. You know what I mean? But I think it's really just context. Like it's not that deep, in my opinion.
I guess topic where it's like the expectations aren't clear to people depending where you're at. If you're on the East Coast, West Coast, like it's very unclear. That's what I think. I'm not arguing whether or not it's okay to say it or whether white people say it. I'm just saying if we don't want white people to say it, I think it needs to be very clear. And I think even in fact in this new age of our culture, I think we're seeing more people saying we don't want white people to say it.
Homophobia is a big issue in the black
Major
community.
issue. It's a major
3,
issue,
2,
in my opinion.
1, go.
I think it's a major issue, and I think it's really just about insecurity
Squarespace, editing and adding pieces.
and projection. Because look at someone like Boosie. Now, Boosie's one of those people that he speaks his mind about a lot of things, and I get that. You know, I can respect that to a certain extent. But the way he be having, even Lil Nas X, his name in his mouth, it's like, bro, you must be gay or something, and you're mad that he's open about it and people still care about him and love him, and not the same for you. Like, I feel like the problem is a lot of people just don't know how to live with themselves, and so they put that on other people. And also, it goes back to like street culture. Like, everybody wants to be cool, and for the longest time, like, it's not cool to be gay. It's not cool to, like, you know, the same gender or whatever. So I feel like it's one of those things where it's like a lot of people don't get it, and they project, and they're, you know, it's terrible. It's real terrible. And another thing is, a lot of people, you know, fear what they don't understand. That's why, you know, homophobia is even a thing, because people just don't understand it. They can't relate, so they don't get it, and so they're afraid of it. And it's weird, in my opinion. And another problem also is the misconception that it's a sin. A lot of people believe it's a sin. A lot of black people, you know what I mean, their grandmas, their great grandmas, you know the Bible front to back, and you know, then it passes on through generations, and they grow up believing like, hey, homosexuality is like not okay, like you're gonna go to hell. And so a lot of people just have that fear rooted in their head to the point where it's like, oh, you're gay, oh nah, I can't associate with you because you're going to hell, and I can't deal with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's really messed up. It's really messed up. But it definitely is a problem. I think it's a problem.
A lot of us black men, we will rather be friends with the homie that, you know, probably has a rape attached to his name than the homie that's part of the LGBTQ plus community. And I think that that's something that, you know, we got to work on as people.
For sure.
My thing is, I don't understand the whole big phobia of, okay, what he decides to do in his free time or behind closed doors, why does that bother you so much?
That's another thing that I don't get in general. Like, why does something that one person does affect you so hard? Like, literally, what you eat, what I eat does not make you use the bathroom. It doesn't. When I sleep, that doesn't mean you're any less tired. Like, it just doesn't affect you. And I feel like some people really don't understand that in their heads. Like, it doesn't affect them at all. At all. I just don't get it. I don't get why people make such a big deal out of it. Like, bro, you're not, like, I don't know, bro.
How does that affect you?
It's
like,
weird
why
to
do
me.
you feel like it's such like the scum of the earth?
And I also
For
think
real.
it comes from religion, because
Yeah,
I
like I was
don't want
saying.
to get too controversial with that, but people are very religious, especially in the black community. You know, Christians and you know, when you talk about the Bible, you know, they say, you know, homosexuality is a sin. So
Which is cap.
a lot.
It really is messed up because of translations over centuries. Really, it just got translated wrong. But what they meant is pedophilia, because it said like man with child or something like that. And then over time, people just thought it meant man with man, and you know, then they thought homosexuality was sin, but it's really pedophilia, which is terrible. How for the longest time, pedophiles were mad accepted, and gay people weren't. Gay people still aren't, for real. Pedophiles aren't now, but to a certain extent, a lot of people be letting it slide, which is real terrible.
A lot of people have that ingrained in their mind. This is absolutely not right. And for a lot of people too, when they see a man, they want to see a manly man, and they associate that with being straight.
Heterosexual men have a fear that homosexual men will treat them how they treat women, if that makes sense. And so they're afraid
That's true too.
of that treatment. And I'm on somewhat agree, because I'm rather torn. I think I've lived a life where I'm around very open-minded, inclusive people. So I'm not sure how big of an issue it is in the community, but I know that in the black church sphere, homosexuality is often made out to be the worst thing that you can be. There's almost nothing worse than being gay. And I think
It's
that's
terrible.
also where some of the homophobia comes from. We like to ignore all the other sins, all the other things that the Bible outlines that are not, you know.
People will, no cap, hang out with someone that they know shot someone like 2 weeks ago. but they won't hang out with someone who's gay. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Like, bro, you literally like caught a body, bro. Like you murdered someone. But it's like somehow that's more accepted. And like I said, it goes back to street culture. Like it's cool. People see that stuff as like, oh, they hard, they real. You know what I mean? They putting in work. So it's cool. Being gay isn't seen the same way, which is mad weird.
Holy, and then we just take homosexuality and we make it the worst. You know, granted, the Bible says it's an abomination. I get that, but the Bible says any sin will send you to hell. So
exactly.
You can't be pro-black and date a white person.
Disagree.
3, 2, 1, go.
So I disagree on that.
I think really the issue with this statement is, for me, if you are a stand-up person and you stand up on your morals and your character, it doesn't matter who you date. And I think a lot of the issue is a lot of people get into, you know, interracial relationships, or they date white people and they forget who they are. And if you are pro-black, it doesn't matter if you're dating a black person, a white person, because you can date a white woman and a black woman and still not even be for the cause. So I really think it's up to
that's
the
very
person
true.
if they stand on their morals or not.
I agree to a certain extent, but personally, me, I feel like if you're pro-black, you're pro-black for everything. Like, you're for the advancement of the race, you're for businesses, you're for everything black. So it's kind of hard for me to understand how someone can be pro-black and want so much for, you know, the black culture and the black race, and then they're in a relationship with someone that doesn't represent that, you know.
So are you saying?
I feel like with that, it's like you can be pro-black and date anyone, because at the end of the day, you're not anti anyone, really. You're just pro-black, because black people are oppressed. So you want to be pro-black. You want to build up black people, but that doesn't mean you have to be anti. Like, that's one thing. Like, I have a lot of respect for people like Dr. Umar, but at the same time, it's like, bro, you can't be, like I said earlier, you can't solve racism, discrimination, and all that stuff with racism, discrimination. Like, you can't put down white people. You can't put down Hispanics. You can't put down Asian people to try and build up black people. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. We'll be right where we started, with a whole different race being crazily oppressed. You know what I mean? If we even lived that long for for that to happen. So I feel like it's really not that deep. Like, there's plenty of people that you see that are really pro-black that are with people of another race. You know what I mean? Like, it really just doesn't matter. I feel like the first dude said, I can't remember his name, but like, I feel like as long as you're like standing on your morals and you're, you know, remaining to be the same, you know, person within, you know, keeping your same beliefs, like, it doesn't matter who you're with. It doesn't matter.
That if you are black and you're pro-black, you cannot act on attraction to someone from another race.
Personally, I'm not pro-black, but in my mindset, like, I'm saying, if you're pro-black, you wouldn't find someone that's not black attractive to me. Not saying attractive, but you wouldn't even want to cross that line and even engage in a relationship.
I don't believe that.
You can have, like, you know, like lust, like, hey, you know, she's an attractive white woman, but ideally, you want black kids, you want black family, you want your lineage to carry on.
I don't know.
Another thing too, like, I get what he's saying, but someone like me, like, I don't want kids ever. That's not something I want to do. So I don't see relationships in that way. So it's like, it's not really that deep at all. But, you know, that's how certain people view it.
The question in itself kind of like low-key negates the demographics of the country. I mean, black folks make up 13% of the country, roughly, and
yeah,
a lot of the time we live in concentrations. So, you know what I'm saying? If you in Iowa, it's gonna be a little tough to find you like a black woman, especially somebody that might identify as pro-black with you. So I think
for
it
sure
depends on what you do.
Like, me from Florida, I'm surrounded by everybody. There's a lot of people, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. Like, you know, it's a lot of people. So I feel like when there's more options, it's like you can really see the best out of anyone around you. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of black women that are, you know, very attractive. There's plenty of white women that are very attractive. It really just, it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like depending on where you're from, you're gonna find, like I said, you're gonna find the best out of anyone, for real. And if you're pro-black, like, there's plenty of white people that are pro-black, and that's why they be with black people, you know. Or I don't know. I feel like it's weird. It's weird. It's one of those things that I feel like is very situational. Context matters. you know. But I personally think like you can be pro-black and date anyone, for real. You can be pro-black and date a tree, like, to be honest. Because like I said, you're pro-black, but you're not anti anything else. At least you shouldn't be, in my opinion. A lot of people are, which is mad weird. But you know,
you decide to be with.
My first response to that is like, what's the point of looking at people differently? It's like we get upset that people do it to us in general. Like,
exactly.
looking at black people and judging them and stereotyping them and making assumptions about them is like, so on the flip side, why should we be doing that to other people regardless?
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
and if y'all listen to Kanye, y'all know you a black dude, bro. Gotta get with a white woman so that you can make another black dude, bro. Really make the percentages go up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really pro-black. Really divide, multiply, and then we straight. I think if you really pro-black, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make the percentage go. You're trying to get from 13% to maybe like 20, 30. You know what I mean? Something like that. Or just really spreading out and having a whole crazy mix of people. That would be much cooler in my opinion, because then everybody is everybody. And then I feel like that would be easier for people to feel more equal if it wasn't just straight 100% black, straight 100% white, straight 100% Hispanic. You know what I mean? I feel like if people mix around more, it would be easier for people to really feel equal, because it's like, bro, like I said, everybody's everybody, like, for real. Even now, like, people be 100% black, and then their ancestors be from, you know, crazy different countries and, you know, ethnicities and stuff. But it's like, I feel like the mix is like, it's still not diverse enough. Like, there's still so many endless possibilities that people could have, you know, by having children. And so it's like, there's, you know, like, diversity isn't what it could be. Like, there's too many umbrella groups. You know what I mean? Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever else. Like, there's way too many umbrella groups. If it's more spread out, I feel like racism will be less of a problem, because it's like, how you gonna discriminate against me when you black and Asian and I'm white and Hispanic? You know what I mean? Like, I think
a relationship depending on the color of their skin.
I'm not gonna lie, I do. Like, I look at people differently based on who they marry. Because dating, you know, you could be dating for fun. I feel like I look at people different based on who they marry. Like Jordan Peele, Childish Gambino, I feel like I can look at them and be like, I'm not looking down on them. I don't think of them negatively, but I'm like, oh, I see. And like, oh, okay, I see. Like, because like black men that date white women, there's something different, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know what it is. Like
I said, I think it's a locational thing. Like, wherever you grow up at, whoever you grow up around, you find yourself being attracted to different people. I think that's just what it is. And now, if you grow up in like Atlanta, Southside Atlanta, surrounded by a bunch of, you know, black people, you're gonna grow up and be attracted to black people like that. Whereas if you grow up like bruh said, in Iowa, you know what I mean, it's gonna be a little bit different. That's really just what it is. And for Gambino and Jordan Peele, I know Gambino's from California, I think, and the diversity in California is crazy. There's literally everybody there. So, you know, it just depends.
Gambino, I can see that. Jordan Peele, okay, I can see that. I can't think of another example, but I feel like I can tell, like, okay, like, that's cool, you know, I'm happy you have.
Now, if we thinking like this, why is it any different with, you know, dating a dark-skinned black woman and a light-skinned black woman at that point? Because then it's down to like, what do people call it, like colorism or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference there? Because at that point, it's like, bro, yeah, sure, they're both black, but why are you with this woman and not this woman? I feel like that's the same logic, and people overlook that way too much. Like, these same people that we talking about pro-black be going for the lightest light skins, bro. They be barely passing as black. And it's like, bro, come on, bro. Like, what are we really doing here? In my opinion, I feel like people overlook that way too much.
I see the difference.
I prefer a light-skinned partner to
This is what I was just talking about. This is what I was just talking about. I'm gonna say disagree. I don't care about none of that. Me personally, I don't care about race. I don't care about color. I don't care about ethnicity. I don't care about none of that. None of that. If a good person is a good person, like, it is what it is.
A light-skinned partner to a dark-skinned partner.
I don't play them colorism games.
Yes, brother.
All right, so the reason why subconsciously for me, the reason why I feel that way is, growing up, I was always, bullied for my skin color. I always felt out of place. I was always told I'm not black enough. And when you constantly hear that and you get beat down with that, and, you doubt yourself. And like I said, I grew up in a broken home. I grew up in a foster care system. So it took me a long time to figure out myself. And for a lot of times, I don't tell a lot of people this, but I used to hate the way I looked. I was like, I don't.
That's a problem. A lot of people have, especially super dark, super dark people.
I'm more comfortable with myself.
I guess I have a question. Do you think it's because you look at a potential partner as lighter skinned, so that your potential children or so would be lighter skinned, so they don't have to go through what you feel like you went through?
Nah, at the end of the day, for me, I'll marry whoever I seem fit. So it really doesn't, to me, matter about the skin color. But I will admit, subconsciously, I do think, when I see a light-skinned woman, I actually, look a little longer, or I might linger a little longer, or be a little more interested, just because of, that consciousness that I had growing up. So it's not something that I say that dark-skinned women are far unsuperior or light-skinned women are more superior. It's just because of the constant beat down and the constant.
I get that. That's understandable considering his situation, the way he grew up. I can understand that.
I do think that way.
But do you feel like
I can't relate, but I get it.
I
get what he's saying.
Because of that?
Yeah, well, not anymore, because it took me a long time. I mean, this started happening, like I said, when I was 6, when I got in foster care. So, but now I'm more comfortable with looking at myself. I'm a good-looking, tall glass of chocolate milk. So,
Good for you, brother. Good for you.
Like, do you at all feel like you've become the person that bullied you by then having this preference toward lighter-skinned people, as opposed to someone that would look like you?
That's something to think about.
Yes. I will admit that. And
that's something to think
like
about.
I said, we just shooting a realism. So I do agree with that. Yeah. And I think that's why now I'm focusing on myself and, being a part of this discussion.
Was it a Dark Knight feeling? Would you rather die and be a hero, or live long enough to see yourself become a villain? That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, like I said, though, it's understandable.
For me, because I'm starting to, realize
very understandable.
That prejudice needs to go. And I see this a lot in the entertainment industry now, where
I was about to say
want a black woman, but they want your complexion. They want that.
This is literally what I just said. Like 5 minutes ago. This is what I just said.
In the black family, and I think I only speak openly about it because I know there's a lot of people who feel that way too, but they don't want to admit to it, or they don't want to express it and be rejected. So I mean, you see it in the media too, so I think that plays a big part in that too.
For sure, bro. They literally traded dark-skinned Aunt Viv for light-skinned Aunt Viv after what, season 1, bro? Like, come on, bro. We've been seeing it for years. And, that situation's mad different because apparently the first, Aunt Viv was kind of just like a, not the best person. But even still, though, like, it's crazy.
I currently go to therapy. 3.
Nah, but there definitely is a problem with black men, searching for help, especially with therapy. I remember seeing that. I knew they were all gonna say, like, most of them were gonna say disagree.
My therapist, but she don't like that. So I'm thinking about going fairly soon just to speak my mind, because I feel like there's a lot of things that, everything's cool up front, but everyone has like something that's just like digging at them somewhat internally that, may hinder them in some sort of way, and I feel like
everyone should go to therapy, maybe not. I feel like a lot of people need to go in different parts of their lives. You know what I mean? Like it might not be one of those things where you're constantly going every week, every month, whatever, but more people definitely do need to be going depending on their situation. I feel like, and the thing is too, a lot of black men don't, because it's not one of those things that's like, I'm not going to say promoted, but like pushed in the black community. Like not too many people are being, especially in a lot of low income areas, they're not being like, yo, bro, you should really go like talk to someone about, your trauma. Because a lot of people be seeing stuff, they be going through stuff, they be losing people, and they don't have any type of, help for it. And that's one of the big problems with, rap culture now, because especially in the last 10 years, it's become, well, I say 15, it's become such a big thing to medicate yourself for that. That's why, you hear rappers talking about popping perks and popping Xans and, all this stuff, sipping lean, because that's what they know to help cope with what they've been through. You know what I mean? Like someone like Juice World, he grew up in Chicago. You know what I mean? He had seen some crazy stuff, probably been through so much crazy stuff, and the only way that he could really deal with that, on top of his existing mental issues, was abusing drugs. And it's really sad because that's more normalized than being like, yo, bro, you should go to a doctor, bro. You should go to therapy. Like, you should go talk about your stuff. But enough people aren't, really pushing that. A lot of people are now, but even still not in the wider, range that it needs to be talked about. Like, people just aren't pushing it like that.
That type of feeling, like, you should go.
Yeah, therapy can be going to the beach or like going out to eat or doing something that relaxes you. So
That too. I feel like there's, that too is also therapeutic. A lot of people don't take time to really do what they love or do what makes them feel good. Especially black men. A lot of black men just do the same things, going to work, come home, playing 2K, or actually going out playing basketball, whatever, smoking weed. Like, that can work, but at the same time, a lot of people don't really sit down and be like, yo, what do I like to do? Like, me personally, I like biking. It's very relaxing. Listen to music, especially Kid Cudi. Biking to some Kid Cudi, chilling, fresh air. Like, that's nice. That's real chill. You get to really just be at peace. A lot of people don't know what that is for them.
Hold on. we have to be able to draw a line.
I know what I'm saying. It's open to interpretation. Yeah. I'm here because I took.
There's a difference, actually. I want to draw the line. There's a difference between going to therapy and participating in therapeutic, like, I guess, situations, activities, whatever you want to say, something like that.
Sitting in front of a therapist, someone licensed to do this. Do I do that? No. Do I find other avenues to relieve stress or whatever? Yes.
But you can't.
There's a difference.
Self-care
for sure.
with therapy.
Okay,
it's
maybe
two
that's
different.
Yeah,
things.
that's the thing.
I've been in therapy for quite some time. Personal therapy, just for myself, just issues that I have internally that I speak with someone with on a professional level. I recommend therapy. Therapy is literally the best thing you could possibly do.
For me, I find
the thing is too is it doesn't work for a lot of people. There's some people that try therapy and it's just not for them, which I can understand that. So all they can do is self-care. You know what I mean? But it's important to try it for everyone. Like I said, in different parts of your life, like especially black men, like every 3 years, bro, check up on yourself, man. And a lot of black men don't go to the doctor enough, bro. A lot of people need to hit that physical, bro.
Therapy
cancer be creeping up.
And I know there are a lot of people who they look at the Christian church specifically and might not adhere to that. But I think in recent years, the church has been adding more professionalism to what therapy means.
Having these conversations, for some reason, it makes you feel like less of a man, because when we talk about therapy,
he look and sound like Cochise. I feel like this is what Cochise, like this dude is who Cochise thinks he is sometimes. Like in them interviews, bro, especially recently. Did my mic turn off again? Oh no, my Streamlabs just lagged. Hold up, bro. This dude just reminds me of Cochise right now. I don't know why. Bro, I don't want to keep talking if it's still lagging. I really don't know why it keeps doing this. It's very weird. It happens like every other stream. Okay, we're good. All right, we're good. Anyways, this dude reminds me of Cochise. Anyways.
People like, really? You going to therapy? But when you think
that
about
too.
it, that's why a lot of people have anger issues. That's why a lot of black men have anger issues, because,
for
they
sure.
grow up a certain way, or they face a lot of challenges and they don't know how to express it. So the first thing they do is they take it out on you or their girlfriend or their mom, and
for
they
real.
don't have someone or an outlet to express it. So I think we need to normalize going to therapy and not pushing it off as a white thing. We need it. We need healing, and we need somebody to talk to us.
And the thing is too, a lot of people also see it as a rich thing. Like even Kid Cudi says, like, in what song was that? Just What I Am. Like, I had the ball for therapy. My shrink don't think that helps at all, which is very true. And in some cases, yeah, you kind of do need to be, stacking your bread to go to therapy, but it's really not, not always like that. Sometimes you really just need someone to talk to. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't be putting that on, friends or family members like that all the time. But if that's all you have, then like do that. You know what I mean? Like, as long as they're cool with it and it's not, getting to them. But, it's one of those things that I feel like a lot of people just don't push enough.
I think healing trauma is going to help black people progress instead of just getting more trauma piling on top of each other.
Exactly.
And in a lot of ways, that does come into an aspect of personal responsibility, because it's like my issues with my dad at a certain point has nothing to do with him anymore. At a certain point, it has to do with me and how I process it. And I have to go from, do I want to get angry every time I'm in the same room as him, or do I want to be able to walk in the same room as him and not have that reaction? And that was what I processed in my head when I was going through that therapy.
That's the thing too. A lot of people. Oh, shut up. A lot of people don't deal with their situations enough. Like, they don't really sit down and be like, yo, like, what have I gone through? Like, how do I feel for real? A lot of people don't do that.
My father was present in my life. 3, 2, 1, go.
That's a W. A lot of agrees.
To this one, like, I absolutely love my dad. I'm even getting a little emotional thinking about my dad. My dad's amazing. My dad was there for me in every way, shape, or form, every facet, every way that he could be there for me and more. He was there for me. He was.
I feel like I've seen this dude. He looks like he was in Atlanta, like the show. I feel like he might have been in Atlanta. He looks very familiar now. Like, from the beginning, I thought he looked familiar, but he looked very familiar, bro.
School. He was there at my soccer games, my track meets. He was my coach for soccer one year. My dad taught me everything that I know almost. He is who I model my personality after.
That's a W, man.
To be. I don't think I could have had a better father. It's almost why I'm discouraged to have kids, because I feel the pressure to live up to the example that he set for me. So he was there, still is.
I said someone disagree because I ended up being put in foster care when I was 6 years old with a couple of my younger brothers. And I remember, I don't remember what my dad looks like, but I do remember he passed away when I was around 7 or 8. So I can't really fault him for that. But, you know, my mom, she was widowed, so she lost a husband, and she decided to take care of us. And I don't think my life would be any different. I don't regret not having a dad, but sometimes I do wonder, you know, secretly, you know, what life would have been like if I had that fatherly figure in my life. And I think that's another stereotype, that, you know, black men don't have their fathers in their life. And it's good to see, you know, a lot of y'all over there.
For me, my dad was not as present as he could have been. He's a typical older Belizean dude. Their culture is just very different from American culture. It's very passive aggressive. I remember times being young and I would question my mom all the time, like, hey, like, you know, why is he not around? Why is he not there? And, you know, she did the best she could as a single mother. Now I can say my dad is very present in my life. However, I feel like our relationship is very, like, financial based, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I don't have a real connection with my father. Like, he's there for me if I need something, like if I need to, like, if I want this, if I want that, like, he's always there for me, like, money-wise, but I feel like I'm still, like, desiring for that real connection, like how you mentioned how you have that mental connection with your father. Like, I feel like I don't have that. So that kind of puts a desire into me to where I'm desperate now to be a father. Not desperate, but I'm desperate to be a father, that I want to do it right and give the things and, you know, make sure that I nurture my kid more than just the money aspect of things. Like, I want to be there, you know, and always possible. I kind of feel like now I kind of just suppress it and try to ignore it because he's here now, which I definitely feel like I shouldn't do.
I think that it's never too late to mend a relationship. It's never too late to rewrite the story. I mean, you can't go back in time and change anything, but you can definitely mend the relationship. Because although I have a good relationship with my father, relationships are constant maintenance and they're work. And I know that parents can be toxic too. They can break your heart more than anyone else can. I'm not saying that your dad did. But maybe you should start today. Give him a call, invite him out for a coffee, you know, start somewhere.
Father's Day coming up, dog. You know what I'm saying?
And that is officially a wrap.
Hey!
And we got you guys some merch.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Jubilee merch.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Jubilee. Oh, 2 pins. 3. Oh, 2.
I don't even think I could fit this on my head.
Honestly.